Spurs nick a point very, very late on with a Harry Kane goal in the company of Zach and Pat to go over that, boys. Zach, it's always gutting to concede that late on in a game that Chelsea have been so dominant in. We spoke at half-time about how the first half was very much in Chelsea's hands. The second goal that comes from Reece James after an equaliser from Hotspur, Chelsea felt in full control, and then to concede right at the death is gutting to an extent, because I think, like Jason eloquently put right there, there's a lot of positives from today, and Chelsea were the better side. Yeah.
I think what's frustrating is I feel like I've seen that match too many times with Chelsea over the past couple of years, where we've been winning and it kind of goes against us in the last minute. I'm not normally one to feel to go too much like blaming referees and that, but I feel like there were definitely a few decisions that really did go against us. Whether there should arguably be a red card in the last couple of minutes there. If my hair's getting pulled, I know I'd be very, very frustrated. But Jason is right. There are a lot of positives. There's definitely a lot of positives from that. Chelsea dominated the game. They maybe fell asleep a little bit. They were maybe should be clearing the ball when they had the chance to not concede the first goal. But there are a lot of positives. But we need to start taking them. For too many seasons now, we've sat there and said Chelsea have made a lot of chances, but they've not scored their goals. Havertz had a fantastic chance today to put it in when I think they were 2-1, when it was 1-1. Sorry, to go ahead, and then obviously there were other opportunities. Well, Conor Gallagher felt like he only was on for 10 minutes. Felt like he had 2 opportunities as well. Definitely positives to take, but you're always going to be frustrated with a result like that.
As fans, Pat, it's one of those where you know how much it means. It really does mean a lot. And the Stamford Bridge crowd was whipped up towards the end, because there was a couple of little moments on the touchline between Thomas Tuchel and Antonio Conte. May have boiled over at the end. I think both managers were shown a red card. But that kind of shows, doesn't it, how much this fixture means, Because realistically, I think if you'd have offered both managers at the start of the game a point, having seen how well both teams were playing last week and going into it, it wouldn't have been the worst point in the world, but you see how much it means on the touchline in the stands, don't you?
I actually think you're going to see a bit more of that this season. Because of the slight changes in the rules and the way that's been interpreted, you're getting more tackles allowed to go. You get more frustrated people on the touchline, you get more frustrated players on the pitch. Certainly the frustration with Chelsea, we felt when Kai Havertz didn't get the free kick in the first goal that eventually led when Jorginho gave the ball away. We think, well, wait a minute, why don't we get a free kick for that? Yes, the defender got a tiny touch of the ball, but he's also taken him out as well. You're not allowed to come through the back. So you're going to get that a little bit just now. But in actual fact, I've calmed down a little bit now after the end of it. And I'm trying to look at it and think, I'm actually happy. I'm really happy. I've watched a number of things today that has really lifted me. I've seen Ruben Loftus-Cheek play the best game of football he's played for Chelsea Football Club. And I'm really comfortable in saying that. I was listening to telly there just at the end, and they've given Reece James man of the match. Now, Reece basically, they had the cheek to try and tackle him at points. Were you really? Because he's like just bouncing off a wall. He was brilliant. Him and Ruben together. It's like, see, when you see something like that working together, it's kind of a thing of beauty in a football park. And then you move them into centre midfield, and I hope it is now. I hope it's now Ruben's time. We've waited a long, long time. Keep up that sort of standard, mate, and you're going to be so big for us. So that, fantastic, really happy with that. Chances made. You mentioned the chance that we got from Kai, but what about the chance for Raheem as well? Where he caught it well. You're absolutely right. There was the other chance that was Connor played it wide. Mason, keeper's got nowhere near it. It's just the other side of the post. It's a goal. We were the better team by miles there. Energy levels were fantastic. We didn't get a point. That's a downer, but don't worry, we'll be okay. A wee sadness to see in goal.
Yeah,
that's a hamstring, and that's not a 2-week hamstring. That's going to be wee well. So that'll make some of the decisions the manager was going to make about moves in and out of the club. That'll certainly make them and hurry them up a wee bit.
Well, let's talk about a player that is already in the club, a player that has already made a massive impact. Quite a lot of people reacting to Kalidou Koulibaly's first goal in Chelsea Blue, and what a finish it was. Koulibaly giving Rudiger vibes with the long shots. He did a couple of minutes before the goal, didn't he? He wound one up on his left foot, and the camera angle was a little bit off in some angles, and I thought it was going to perhaps nestle in the top corner, but not quite. First assist, Cucurella. First goal, Koulibaly. Yeah, that feels like it's going to be something we see more and more of, doesn't it, really? Especially with the quality of delivery. It was going to be really hard to replace Rudiger, but Koulibaly is proving to be an upgrade. He's a top guy. I tell you, he's definitely going to be one of those, isn't he, where you see the likeness between the aggressiveness on defending and the will to win and the leadership qualities between them both. They're both fantastic footballers in their own right. And Koulibaly scores a Van Persie-esque goal. Ecstasy all over Stamford Bridge. Oh, you beauty. It was a fantastic goal, Zach, and it's one of those, like we said at half-time, that sets the tone, doesn't it, for his Chelsea career?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, making your debut, or your home debut at Stamford Bridge in front of that crowd, wearing the number 26, a big number to replace, and considering who wore that before in John Terry. And not just the goal was good. The goal was amazing, like 100%, one of the best goals I'm sure he's scored in his career, if you ask him, on the volley, the way it's come over. Yeah, really, really good. But a defender's job is to defend, and he actually did a fantastic job with that today. He was a very, very aggressive, coming out of that back line, charging down, making early tackles to stop any chance of a counter-attack, aggressive tackles as well, more than happy to slide tackle if he needs to. And when he was on the ball as well, his distribution was very impressive too. I think with these guys, with Koulibaly, Sterling, Cucurella, they're only going to get better as they understand the team and learn the team and get to know the team more and more, what Thomas Tuchel wants for them in certain situations. And if that's how they're playing after just their, 2 games with him, I mean, hopefully it's going to be a very, very strong season.
Absolutely right. Pat, you've already mentioned it, but quite a lot of people echoing your thoughts about Ruben Loftus-Cheek having a fantastic impact on today's game at right wing-back. We've seen Ruben play in a lot of different positions, haven't we? But he was fantastic today. I think we'll get those tweets in a second. But he's really showing his versatility, isn't he? And the fact that he can play in a number of different roles is a key part of Thomas Tuchel's sort of philosophy as Chelsea boss.
Yeah, I mean, you need to do that in the modern game. I mean, if you're a specialist in one position, well, the way systems change, your position might not exist next week in the team, yeah. So you better be able to adapt. But it does suit him. And maybe one of the problems with Ruben in the past was, lasting 90 minutes at that sort of physical level. He cruised it today. He really cruised it. He bullied people today. They couldn't get near him. And we know that lovely dummy he's got when he rolls players. He did it once, then he did it twice, and then he just thought, well, I'll do this whenever I like, because there's nothing they can do about it. And then he passed it to Ruben, and Ruben just blast through people as well. So, yeah, fantastic for him to do that. You've got to grow now. There's players that you look around you, there's world-class players at this squad just now in this team. You've got to take that chance and you've got to grab it. There was a moment really near the end there where we had Ruben, and I thought he was going to put Ruben centre midfield and, move Reece in beside him as a 2. And I'm thinking, gosh, I'm all right with that. I'm OK with that. Going forward, I don't worry about that. He didn't. He put Connor in there as well. But it was lovely. You were talking about people that are working well together. Cucurella, apart from... I said something big during the commentary, but I don't know if you caught it. And I'll roll back a tiny bit. I won't be surprised if he's our Player of the Year this year. Right, I'll roll back to that much from he'll be our Player of the Year this year. But he is a spectacular footballer, and his working, just like Reece and Ruben one side, his working alongside Mason was phenomenal today. So that's why, look, we've got a point. We've lost a last-minute goal against Spurs. I'm not downhearted. I've seen so many positives for the club today.
There are a few sort of footballing educations that you get better than Cobham, and I suppose one on that par, on that level of eliteness is La Masia for Barcelona, and you could definitely see that comfortability in the way that he plays football, can't you? One or two special guests inside Stamford Bridge today. Here's one of our favourites that we saw. Not yourself, Pat. You're obviously always a special guest. Owen...
Thank you.
That is fantastic. That is that is brilliant. That's not going to get noticed, but I respect it, mate. Owen Wilson in the building for Chelsea versus Tottenham. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying these sort of new faces coming to the Bridge. And what a first game to come to if it was indeed Owen Wilson's first Chelsea game.
Yeah, I mean,
what way to start?
If that's a way to introduce you to the Premier League and English football, I mean, he'll be expecting that every week. The aggression, the aggressive levels from the touchline and from the pitch made it a pantomime watch. It was fantastic.
It's nice as well because obviously you see first game of the season, you see the Sky cameras and the football cameras through whoever is doing this, looking all around the ground for famous faces in the ground, looking for the new ownership, of course, looking for Owen Wilson, and looking for Jason Cundy as well, Pat. You wouldn't have seen this because you were up on commentary, but there was a good 30-40 seconds during the water break where they focused in on Jason to talk about Jason's career, obviously being a Chelsea legend, but also playing the first Premier League game for Spurs against Chelsea 30 years ago.
And I can tell you, Jason wasn't aware the camera was on him either. Because I'm sitting beside him and we were chatting away. And it was just at the last second he spotted it. Do you know when we've watched Jason and we've had our own cameras on him. They got him in about the cameras 30 seconds they could have possibly got. There was a moment tonight, and we shared this, right, but nobody else knows about it. When we scored, Jason jumped up and his headphones went flying about 20 yards. We're trying to carry on the commentary, and you're getting hugged with Jason. And honestly, it was a fabulous, fabulous moment. And you're talking about the excitement, the entertainment, the razzmatazz, the Hollywood. And time's gone past you to see that as a kind of, you weren't sure about that. I'm like yourself, I am loving this. We need this now. This is who we are going to be going forward, as long as we're a good, set, professional organisation from inside it. And you look at the team today, you had it all. I wonder what Todd thinks. I really wonder what he thinks. And he's come in here, and him and the group have bought it. And maybe after the first game in Everton, they're going, it's interesting. After this game, they're going, because it can happen. I've been with people.
Isn't it?
This moment where it happens, and you just suddenly think, oh, this is real now. And it was so good today. So I'm happy for the new ownership that they got a game like this so early in the season, and they saw and they felt the passion.
Pat's already mentioned it, Zach, but I want to bring it back to Reece James, who was sensational again today. We feel that he's got to that level of Mason Mount. We've got some tweets on this as well. I feel we've got to that level of sort of desensitised about how brilliant Reece James always is. Give Reece James a lifetime contract. Now, he is always so incredibly good, but the fact that he plays at centre-half, he plays at right wing-back, wherever he plays, you know that he's on the pitch in terms of he's a problem. Having Mark Son out of the game in the first half, he swings in a brilliant cross for Havertz within minutes of being switched to right wing back, then scores. This is so true from Liam, because he's absolutely spot on there, isn't he? He's almost one of those players, Pat, and you've mentioned it millions of times before, and Zach, we've been lucky enough to see a couple at Chelsea, but similar to Ruben, wherever he is on the pitch, he's an asset. Having a player within your camp like that, it must be a headache on one hand, going, where can I get the best out of him? But also, then you answer it yourself, go, wherever he plays, we get the best out of Reece James.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy to think about is that there's not a bad side. There's not a side to his game that he isn't great at. Whether that is defending, whether that is attacking, whether that is being able to put a ball into the box, whether that's being able to be physically strong enough to deal with a striker or a winger, whether that's his pace, or like, there's not an aspect of his game where you can maybe mark down other defenders and think, oh, that's their weakness. He can do it all, and that's where you can see him play at right wing back, why he can play right centre back. Whilst he played half of his games for Wigan at centre mid when he went on loan there, and I'm sure we actually might see a lot more of that from Reece James in the future. Well, indeed, left wing back. You know, maybe one day he plays up top for a pre-season game. Who knows? But he is. I think unicorn is actually a very, very good way to put it, because he is a special player where there aren't many like him, and he often gets compared to, say, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Would you pay Trent at right centre back? Probably not. And Reece James just has all the capabilities and abilities to do whatever he wants.
Absolutely right. Of course, we are now in full swing, and the football season continues to get busy. Actually, quite a lot coming your way on the Fifth Stand-Up this week, including tomorrow evening. We'll have highlights of Chelsea's PL2 fixture against Fulham, the first game of their sort of home season. In fact, they're playing down. It's going to be a good one tomorrow afternoon. And then tomorrow, Friday afternoon, Thomas Tuchel will be speaking to the press. I'm sure he'll have calmed down by then, giving them a couple of days at least. And next Sunday, you don't know. Next Sunday, Chelsea are away at Ellen Road to play Leeds United. It's always a feisty one as well. 1:15 will be on with Matchday Live for that one. OK, boys, I need to put you on the spot a little bit. Pat, one word to sum up the game today.
Joyous for me.
Joyous. That's a nice one. I should have finished with you, because I don't think Zach's is going to be as joyous. Zach, one word.
Feisty.
Feisty. Very, very nice. Very nice indeed. Boys, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. So, yeah, we are underway at Stamford Bridge. The Todd Boehly era rolls in. It was a sunny Sunday here at Stamford Bridge. Points are shared, but I think we really know who the real winner was. Us, in terms of they got to watch the game itself. Thank you very much for watching. See you next week.